So when we say center of excellence, what are we even referring to? I would walk into your PMOs, and this is what I would look for. That would tell me you are a center of excellence. I would look for clarity of vision. I want to know, what is your overall vision, your mandate? And all too often, I am explained all these great long dissertations, and they're wonderful. But that doesn't tell me the vision, the mandate. I want to know how it is clearly, simply articulated. And then that should be followed with what are your key strategies, as well as the objectives on what you will be doing towards realizing those strategies in both the short as well as in the long term. Then I want to see your structure. Because all too often the structure of the PMOs are too large, too burdensome, too traditionally based, and I want to know how it's being structured. Quality. If there is any one thing that is totally absent in almost all PMOs that we work with, that we included in our intensive research, it was the lack of quality criteria. When you undergo a process on managing projects, I want to know for every phase, how do you measure the quality? How do you know that people have actually followed the processes you had expected? Every document. How do you know people have actually completed each one of those documents the way that you would have expected according to these quality standards? And then the last is measurements. What kind of measurements do you provide and do you obtain for the project management office as well as for projects that you're reporting back to management and the organization? Get into the first one then, which is your vision. How do we do it? Start here. Talk to the senior management. Now don't do them as a full group. Just one-on-one interviews asking each one of them, so what are your top 3 problems? You know, don't focus it as well, because I've often seen we say, well, what are your top 3 project management problems or problems overseeing projects or anything specific like that? Don't do that. You want to know in general there are problems, because a center of excellence PMO will, through your processes, be able to help them to manage all of those business problems, because you're going to have a clear business focus. So just take all of those things in. Now, Burt Rutan, an incredible inventor, American aerospace engineer, he said, set a difficult goal. That difficult goal should be, what does it look like to have the most amazing PMO in the future? I haven't got a clue how we're going to get there, but the most amazing. Half your team should think it's impossible. Because if they don't think it's impossible, then it's probably more common sense. You know, like you'll probably get there. If they think it's impossible, keep that one. Because you're going to figure out through the development of your strategies exactly what you need to do to get closer to it. And maybe you won't be able to fully realize it, but by setting it really high a bar, you'll be surprised how much of that you'll actually be able to realize. So the PMO said to enable our organization to grow business by building a core set of practices that delivered consistent outcomes. Set that as your goal. It's very much a business-oriented goal. You notice the word project is absent. Because if you have a strong business-oriented goal, getting it into the relevancy of your overseeing projects will actually be that much easier for you. Gain clear strategies that now I've got my vision, I have my strategies. And then below each one of these strategies, I'll develop objectives, you know, those 4 or 5 things that then I can say, what are we going to do in the short term, in year 1 and 2? And then, of course, the longer term as well, to work towards the realization. You're not going to become a center of excellence in a matter of months. You know, it's a journey. It's going to take a bit of time, but we need to be able to demonstrate back to management that we have a good vision and strategies, and here are the objectives that we're going to do in the short term, say year 1, that will help us to work towards it. And they've got the measurements there for each one of them. We need to create a structure that supports the vision and strategies. So the place to start is not the structure. And yet this is often the question that people will always say, you know, so I want to create a PMO. How should I structure it? How many people should I have? Wrong question. Too early. Let's see what your vision is. What are your strategies? That will tell us what will be required in terms of the type of resources to move us forward. Because now we've got the strategies, we have the objectives being sort of in the first year, what are we hoping to accomplish? Now we can say, so what type of resources do we need to successfully realize those objectives? Now, what is amazing about these guidelines is it's all process-oriented. It has nothing to do with ISO. It has everything to do with successful management of projects following clear quality criteria. If you want to know, because you don't have it, a good process for assessing risk, for managing change, for creating teams even, go to the ISO 10006. It's so incredibly clearly laid out, and adopt it in your own PMO. It is an amazing set of guidelines. And we go in and we do a health check or a project audit. We will often reference the 10006 as a guidepost because the PMO may not have all of those processes clearly articulated. Understand, there has got to be quality standards attached to every single document that is to be produced, every single report, every single stage or phase within your project management process. I should be able to see, how do I measure the ability that they have done what it is that they need to do. You can change what it is that you have been doing, truly make a difference, develop a clear vision with your strategy and objectives. Put in quality standards and have the right measurements of success back to management as well as to the projects. And you'll have an awesome Center of Excellence.